boop, boop,
There
boop,
we
boop.
go. Hello,
Hey!
everybody. Welcome to the Cubist. My name is Bill Corey. I am the Cubist, and today I am excited because we've got a really fun group of guys on here. A couple repeat customers and a brand new face to the show. But first, of course, my wonderful co-host, Mr. Brandon Kemp. How are you, Brandon?
I'm good, Bill. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Kimberly had to take the night off tonight. She was feeling a little bit under the weather, so yep. We're going to give her the night off. She's definitely earned it. But in the meanwhile, we brought as much, if not more, charm in the form of the dual heads of split-second games, Mr. Randy Beal and Mr. Paul Imboden. Hello, Paul.
Thanks for everybody.
Hello, guys.
How's it going, guys?
Oh my gosh, it's really good now that computers work.
Yes.
It's the small. It's you never know how much you need of technology until it's not there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Welcome to 2017, man.
Yep.
There you go.
Did you try turning it on and off again?
Yes.
The man dispensing the sage IT advice is Mr. Jay Little. Hello, Jay. How are you?
Hello, Bill. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be on the game show tonight.
I'm excited. I'm excited to have you.
We recently played for 200.
Yes, we did. So a little bit of history. The concept of this show goes back about a full year. So almost a year ago, when we first talked about relaunching the show as a YouTube show, I had originally pitched you guys, you three, as a show to do because I knew that this game, 0 Hour, that we're going to be talking about tonight, was on the way. Yeah. And I said, whenever you guys are ready, you let me know and we'll do the show. And then push comes to shove, and it's almost to the day a year later, because it was at Geekway 2016 that we had the conversation. So we're within a week of only 1 year to plan a 1 hour live show. This is not bad for us. I
feel almost prepared.
Yeah,
we're almost ready for this.
30 minutes of headway, man. It puts it all in perspective.
So I want to say hello to our chat room. We never make a point of saying hi to the chat room, but
chat room.
Hello, chat room. How's it going? Anthony Ricano is watching, and he already has our first critique of the show, which is that Jay is not wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be, I do have an emergency Hawaiian shirt. Not kidding.
The fact that you're not kidding doesn't surprise me in the slightest, actually. That's, here he goes. Oh, boy.
Are your thumbs painted? Are your thumbs painted, though? That's the question. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Go.
Right.
Perfect.
And I've got cargo on, so 2 out of 3.
All right, that's not bad.
I got my earring in.
Yeah.
Anthony, Jay maybe if you play your cards really well, Jay will wear a shirt for you in a private viewing later, and that's all we'll say about that. Maybe. I don't really know how that works. I don't know. I might just be saying stuff. All right, moving on. So we always start our show with a "What have you been playing recently?" segment. So if any of you guys have played anything really exciting, Brandon, I know you've got a bunch of gaming. You just got done playing something fun, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I got done playing number 9, little abacus spiel stacking Tetris-y kind of thing. Been playing that quite a bit lately. I'm thinking SDJ nomination there, but we'll see.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bold statement straight out the gate before you even tell us what the game's like.
I said nomination. I didn't say win.
I'm just saying.
There are lots of recommendation and nominations, right? Basically what it is a stacking game where you have numbers 0 through 9, and they're in little Tetris-y like shapes, of course, shaped like the numbers. And you have a deck of cards that has those 20 numbers in there, or 10 numbers in there twice, so 20 numbers. You flip a card, you place a tile down. The object of the game is to build that tower taller so you can get more points. But when you build taller, you have to overlap more than one number on the that are below it, and you cannot cover up empty spaces. So everything has to be like solid for it to stand on. And it's really, really a great little puzzle. Tetris-y gives you that feeling. It makes you curse uncontrollably sometimes because that number 1 sucks. I can't use that. Give me a different number. But it happens, and it's fun. It's quick. It's like 15, 20 minutes. You're done. Do it again. So
how big is the game?
The game itself, the box itself is like a medium-size rectangle box, like your Aaliyah or whatever.
So like the Puerto Rico size box?
Maybe a little bit smaller than that. But it's got a nice insert that holds all the numbers individually in there. Completely unnecessary and superfluous, but it works fine. And it gives it a bigger shelf presence. It didn't need it, but it has it. So But no, it's a small game. It takes up maybe a foot by foot square if you're building a good tower. So.
Oh, so it's not even really all that table intensive.
No, it is not. You can play it. It's one of those wonderful things that you can play it with one player all the way up to we had 3 copies at our game day on Saturday. We could play it with 12 players just playing simultaneously. Nothing changes. You're just throwing more people in there with more boxes. So,
gotcha.
Good fun.
All right. On the Cubist scale, I suspect I already know what your answer is going to be, but on the Cubist scale of buy it, play it, forget it, or burn it, where does number 9 land?
I bought it. Now
you buy everything.
We had to import it. Because it's not available here yet. I did just hear that Z-Man picked it up.
Okay.
So when they get it here, I don't have any idea and what they're going to charge for it. I have no idea. So but you play it while you can.
But you imported it.
Yes.
And don't regret that at all.
Not in the least bit.
How expensive is it?
It was $16.
Oh, after importing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's cheap.
Well, that's still a buy it, right? Like, I mean, even if you pay.
Wow, way to take a risk.
Yeah. Really rolling the dice there,
man. It is a risk to import things nowadays. It wasn't
at
really
$16.
I remember getting my first.
I don't remember where we bought it from because it's a guy in my game group who kind of coordinates it. He buys stuff from everywhere because he's more insane than I am. I think it was Philibert, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we just had a buy group like that bought something close to 12 copies of Strike.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Inspired purchase.
Mm-hmm. It's another chance people are taking there.
Nice. All right, so it's a
buy it. It's gonna be a nom, STJ nom, and it's a good quality family fun.
The price point is perfect, right?
It's $16-20. I don't think it could go wrong. I mean, literally, it is. Each person has 20 numbers in front of them, so it's 80 little cardboard cutouts is all it is. Tetrisy interlocking.
And we're probably gonna come back to this whole conversation on price point versus what you get in the box and whatever. I'm sure as part of the discussion about 0 hour and just the publisher designer relationship and how that whole conversation plays out. Right. But I always find it interesting when we chuckle, right, about $20. Oh boy, you big risk taker, living on the edge, are you, Brandon? Whatever. But at the end of the day, if you spent $20 on a thing at the store and it sucked, you'd be mad and you'd take it back. But now we're in this weird little microcosm, right, where $20 for a game that's even kind of fun doesn't feel like much of a risk at all anymore, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're seeing people spend $225 on a game that doesn't have a rule book published yet.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Everything's up for grabs right now.
And really, when you can fill up that much space on your board game shelf for $15, then that's an investment.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, especially depending on the shelves. Side note, friend of the show, Paul Grogan. Are you familiar with him with the gaming rules? Did you watch his video about installing his game shelves?
No.
If you have not watched this, you need to watch this. Let's just say that it is a measurement error taken to great lengths.
Oh, that's my life.
Paul's a great guy, but he tried to install 2 5x5 Kallax shelves in his room and measured wrong by about an inch, and hilarity ensues. And he's the poor guy. I feel so bad. It's a great video though. You gotta go watch it. It's only like 8 minutes long, and it's a real
noted
because you just sit there and you think, just go back to the store, Paul. What are you doing? And
that's gonna be in the show notes, right?
Yeah. We'll try and put that on there. Look to thecubispodcast.com is where official show notes will be, folks. So I'm going to kick you to the website. It's easier for me to add show notes there than it is to the actual YouTube page. It's a long story. And it's the part that I understand. There you go. All right, Jay, have you played anything recently? You said something about it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh wait, follow up.
Yes.
Did you like it?
What I did is the remastered version of Day of the Tentacle, the classic LucasArts video game. The remastered version came out and it was on a flash sale for the PlayStation 4, and so my wife and I played it back in ye olden days.
Yep.
And then our youngest son Nate, who's 10, saw us playing, and he just immediately got invested in it. In fact, that's what we were playing immediately before. I'm like, guys, I've got a show to do in a little bit with some friends. So, we just saved and quit before I joined you on here, but there's something so great. I see it in video games a lot because I teach the video game courses, but board games too. Like going back and revisiting the classics. There's so much about the cult of the new that I think it's easy to overlook some amazing games that you probably already have on your shelves that you just haven't taken out in a couple years.
Yeah.
So that was awesome for me to be able to do that with Day of the Tentacle. And I spent $5 on it. Was it worth it? Yes. I would have spent another $20, $25 on that, like the retail would have been back then for the
I'm
experience.
going to get that. I'm getting that. You sold me, Jay. You sold me on a game I already love.
There is an entire sort of subgenre of not just remastered but re-released older games. You know, I mean, there's great old games. You know, GOG.com is one that does it. Humble Bundled takes stuff that's maybe 6 months to a year and puts it, you know, and of course the Humble Bundle guys, you know, donate a lot of it to charity and whatever. So there's this emergent marketplace for second wave video games, for lack of a better term, right? Like stuff that, you know, play it again, Sam, kind of stuff that I think is really interesting. And I love the fact that it's bringing back some love to some great old titles.
There was an interesting thing going on in the RPG community for a while with the Bundle of Holding that does the same thing with these ancient RPGs. I managed to track down all those Traveler books that I missed when I was growing up in one huge bundle for $10. I'll never play it. I'll never play it in these days, but man, now I got to finally live out my childhood in book form.
So I definitely don't want to step on the story, but really fast, the guy that ran Traveler in my group when I was a teenager wrote Commodore 64 programs that did all of the character generation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you could mash a button and it would do all the randomization of all of your backgroundy crap and then say, hey, do you like this character? No? Okay, here's another one. You like this one? No? Okay. So I got really spoiled and never actually cracked a book for generation, right? Like I just mashed a button on my C64.
You won Traveler.
Yeah, for sure. It was half the fun. Then once I actually started playing the game, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah. But I had a friend with encyclopedic knowledge of Advanced Squad Leader and Robotech, and that's the only reason I would play them.
Yeah.
Or Battletech. And so, because I never had to look anything up, if he knew exactly what page to flip to, if he didn't already have it off the top of his head.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to take for granted those people who take the time to learn and teach us rules.
Yes.
So if you've got someone in your game group, folks, who teaches the rules and takes the time to learn them before you do, thank you.
Yes.
Care for them. Feed them. Do everything nice you can. They are rare and extraordinarily hard to find beings.
And be forgiving of them when they occasionally screw up. I'm just going to throw that out there. That may or may not be because I'm that guy in my group. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and you don't have a leg to stand on if you didn't do anything for it anyway, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
teachers can make mistakes.
All right, so Day of the Tentacle is. I assume it's still available. It's not. It's not still on flash sale. Buy it, play it, forget it, or burn it.
Absolutely buy it. If you haven't played it before, it's time to discover it. If you've already played it, it's time to remember why it's so awesome.
Very cool.
Oh.
I am one of those guys that buys more games than I will ever play in my Steam account, and my Steam account has like 15 unplayed games sitting there mocking me as we speak. So I'm trying really hard to not buy any more Steam games at the moment because I get like 5. Yeah, legit. I want to say my library, I have like 65 games in my Steam library, and I have literally never even fired up maybe 10 of them.
I was going to say 65 is probably my unplayed.
Oh, yeah. No.
So adorable.
Yeah, see,
Well, Jay probably got us both beat.
well, that's my point, though, is that I don't buy a game until I'm ready to play it when it comes to video games. Like I very rarely buy anything without immediately installing, opening, and giving it 3 hours of my time. Very rarely. It's only when flash sales happen. Oh, and one of those, by the way, is Battleborn, which I just bet on the wrong horse when Battleborn and Overwatch came out. All right, so leave me alone on that one.
That's
fair. That one I don't feel too bad about. So
my wife bought me Rocket League when it first came out, and that's been a year plus now, I think. And and I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. I have. It's actually not too bad solo.
I love the idea. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
I just haven't.
Nice. All right. Hey, joined at the hip, split second, guys. Have either one of you played anything recently that you want?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you a little something about a game called Millions of Dollars. Asmodee, it is so choice. Social deduction, but more negotiation than social deduction. Each player has a hand of criminals that are their crew. You are all working jointly together to work a con. Unfortunately, only one of each role can be put out there for each con, so inevitably the round will end up where you reveal all of your roles because you're putting them in secretly, and you'll see that there are 5 drivers on this crew, and you are frantically negotiating amongst yourselves to figure out how you can back out of this deal so you don't get knocked out of all of your earnings. So there's a lot of last minute negotiations, and there's a lot of reading people's tells and having fun with those moments when they're actually lying and saying, no, I'm actually that 5th driver. You want to pay me money?
Interesting.
Get me out of here. Oh, it's so good. If you like social deduction games, this is a must-have. If you like negotiation games, this is a must-have. If you don't like either of them, you should still give this thing a try because it solves the problems of each of them at the same time, and it's over in like 45 minutes.
Nice.
I've seen somebody come back from one being down to their last dollar to being within $1 of winning in the course of two cons. There's a lot of room to give and take, and it's a ton of fun. The art style is this pulp novel front cover, very evocative style of illustration. It takes itself very tongue in cheek, and the gameplay is rife for very tense discussions. It's a lot of fun. You will have so much fun playing this.
You're going to bring it to Geekway?
Yes. Yeah, this has your name. This has your name all over it, Jay.
Oh, I wish.
I wrote it. I actually wrote it.
You wrote it on there? There you go.
You did.
Okay.
Excellent. So millions of dollars. Who's publishing this one?
It's Matago.
Yeah.
Matago? Okay.
It's probably going to be like $25. I fall into the Brandon camp of as soon as I played this, I got a copy from overseas because I didn't know if it would get picked up stateside, and I needed to play this.
Huh.
Gotcha. So I'll buy it from you.
Oh, yeah.
Outstanding. Randy?
Well, this will be the denouement portion of this segment. Stay-at-home dad is what I do when I'm not playing Photoshop, which I don't recommend anybody buy. I played most recently Bugs in the Kitchen by Ravensburger.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome little game. It's a real-time strategy game where you're rolling dice and moving cutlery around to get an electric cockroach into your chosen trap to win points. And you get to watch the 4-year-old get really frustrated because she doesn't understand the strategy yet. And even though you're trying to help her, it's good.
Did you, I don't know, watch some instructional videos or maybe read on the forums on Board Game Geek to?
I was in this huge tweet storm.
Reddit is just full of spoilers on the game. You want to avoid as much as possible.
The Bugs in the Kitchen subreddit is so live, guys.
We're gonna have to get Paul Gergen on this one.
Sure.
Bugs in the Kitchen, the real-time strategy game from Ravensburger. Huh?
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little nano bug that goes around. Yeah, it's fun.
It's not to like.
All right. So
Exactly.
buy it, play it, forget it, or burn it.
I bought it to meet the minimum cap for Amazon Prime Now delivery because I wanted some soda. And I enjoy it more than the soda.
Okay.
That's good.
So
That's
it was
good.
like $22 for $22. Absolutely buy it. It's a great step up from the younger Haba games that I've been playing, like Orchard and etc. So yeah, definitely a strong buy for me.
Brief aside, since he just mentioned Amazon Now, I tried that out for the first time last week, and I wasn't sure if it would be available in the Twin Cities. But really, what I wanted delivery, like tacos or donuts, things that other restaurants around us don't do. So I was looking at Amazon to see if they sold pies or if there's any other dessert sort of thing that I could have now delivered to me.
I think there's an opportunity here for an enterprising individual
they're
in Silicon
doing it.
Valley
Yeah.
to bring me pie. That's what I want.
It's just an app. You open it up, you touch the picture of the pie, and then a pie shows up at your house.
3D print me a pie.
I feel like current Geek of the Week, Suzanne, Sheldon, would be all over instant pie delivery. If that was already a thing, we'd have probably already heard
Can
about
a
it.
drone fly the pie?
Yes,
into-
drone
yes.
drone pie.
Drone pie.
By the way, Chad Roberts in the chat room wants us to know that Bugs in the Kitchen is currently also available at Target.
Oh yeah.
So Target's picked that one up already.
Fantastic.
And so there you don't even have to lump this in to get your pie. You can just go to Target. And
Nice.
I don't know if Target
You can
has
probably get pie at Target. So
You could.
yeah, there you go. See, and then you don't have to mess no troublesome drones to deal with, whatever. Very cool. And I don't have anything to add to this segment because I didn't get to do any gaming over last week. None, zero, zip. It's been a long.
Yeah, you had enough up at the Granite Summit.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't even that. It was just life. Life has just been an odd duck lately. So, you know what? No, really fast. I picked up Tabletop Simulator because they ran a flash deal for it. And I finally started messing around with that. And I think that might be great for solo gaming. I think this might be an ideal when it's just you and you just kind of want to putz around with the bits and read a rule book, you know what I mean, and mess with stuff, but you don't want to take up your table with it or whatever. Specifically, and I can't believe I'm bringing this up yet again, but like High Frontier is playable on there. Clank can be playable on there solo. There's a lot of games that are built into that can be played both solo and multiplayer, and I think that might be a good selling point for it. Now, I got it half price. So I only paid $10. And at that price, it was a definite buy it. At 20, which is its normal MSRP,
It's a decision.
It's a decision then, right? Like, I mean, at $20, you really have to know if you're going to use it, you know? And it's just a matter of, and if you're only going to use it solo, $20 might be a bit much. But at 10, it wasn't bad. Ooh, they have the Zaya is on there according again to Chad. And if it's really good on Tabletop Simulator, then that's a winner because that game can be a beast for setup and just stuff all over the table.
So which one is
I'm
more?
gonna throw it back at you. Like, do you think that the base system of time stories is a solid enough buy for you?
For time stories, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, then I think that this system fits that mold really, really well. And
Sure.
that here's the platform. And slot in the stuff that you want because that's how that model works, right? There's like you've got to buy $5 modules.
Yeah, you for the stuff that is officially licensed, yes. There's also 1 million downloadable workshop games that you can get that are sort of handshaky. Like the publisher has said, yes, you can use official assets. Just give us full attribution.
Okay.
So it's it seems like some publishers have gone with official ports into Tabletop Simulator, but most of them have just sort of given their blind eye nod and wink to it. That's
what Brettspielwelt was for so long, right? You could play just about anything on Brettspielwelt for a number of years, and some legitimized it, and others just started to look more generic to so you wouldn't get in trouble with the original publishers. But.
Right.
Yeah, and BGA is sort of fitting that same way, and like some of them are legit, and some of them have just sort of timed out.
As I understand it, BGA they actually went back and got legit rights to everything that they host now. To Board Game Arena, I think, is up to speed on all of their mainstream titles. I think. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong on one or two of them, but I think
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Corey said those words.
Yes.
For the bank.
I think they went back and got all their stuff licensed. I don't know that.
You're right. I think you're right here.
I think they specifically did. There are other sites that I know have played a little faster and looser.
I think they made a big deal about it.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to. I mean, one of the things I was going to ask is it more supported Tabletop Simulator by publishers or Tabletopia right now? Who is?
I think my guess. Oh boy, Tabletopia wants everything to be. I don't know. I have both. I've got a free Tabletopia account and I bought Tabletop, and I got the free Tabletopia account and then went and bought Tabletop Simulator. That should probably tell you what I thought is that I was looking for something better. And I thought Tabletop Simulator was better. Now, having said that, the controls on Tabletop Simulator take some getting used to. Weirdly enough, they sort of modeled it after first-person shooters. So, like, you have to WASD to move around where the camera is looking and then scroll in and out. So that's a little odd. But once you get used to that, it only takes about a half an hour to get used to that.
That makes me so happy that somebody like recognized that was just the dominant.
Yeah, it definitely is. So like zoom in and out is your scroll wheel, and you can rotate by holding right mouse and then moving the mouse. You know what I mean? And
or even better, is this like the Unreal Engine that they're using, and it's just a really bland tabletop that you put other stuff on?
Might be. I don't
know.
I don't know what engine they're using, but yeah. Okay. So what I'm hearing here is that Tabletopia has, or Anthony in the chat room, Tabletopia has more publisher hands-on. So Tabletopia seems to be the one that the publishers are moving towards. So maybe that's what it is. Tabletopia is the one that publishers are working with more. But Tabletop Simulator might be the one that is easier to mod for workshop-y stuff. Maybe it's the more end user friendly one. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing I've used Tabletopia for is playtests. You know, when a designer wants somebody to playtest something, it's always been on Tabletopia. I think maybe Gloomhaven is the only one I've seen that was Tabletop Simulator. So,
well, like I said, High Frontier solo scenario is on there, which makes me very happy.
I will gladly play Gloomhaven on Tabletop Simulator for $5.
I don't know if it's available. I think it was just the way he was testing it and using it that way.
And that to me is banana pants, because I don't want to play Gloomhaven if I can't stick stickers on a board and write on pieces of paper. Right?
Like you can do that on your laptop. Just take a big marker.
Right there. Ooh, you're one of those people that wants to laminate your board on pandemic legacy so you can reset the damn thing.
No. I'm saying take your laptop computer and make it a legacy game.
Yeah, no.
Like start just marking off portions of your screen.
This just in, Paul and Bowden, full of terrible ideas. All right, moving on. Here we go. So, all right.
Buy our new game.
Yeah, please buy our new game.
Thanks. You're fucking this one up.
Best sales pitch ever. All right, so let's jump in the main topic before we get completely off the rails here. So, so I want to talk to you guys. So we talked. Okay, when Paul and Randy were on the show last time, we talked a little bit about 0 Hour. Okay, and it came up. We used that as sort of the platform that we jumped off of, talking about how a publisher decides what to publish. If I recall correctly, it was sort of it was the vetting process that we were kind of talking about with you. Tonight, I want to focus a little bit more, since I have you guys back on here, and we've already heard your side of the story. I want to focus a little bit more on the bond or relationship between the designer and the publisher. So, because I think that this is something where I feel like there might be a lot of misconceptions out there in the world on how much control each party has and how much it is about control versus how much collaboration actually happens. And obviously, every company is going to approach this differently, right? Like everybody's going to have their own system. But Jay, you've worked with a couple of different companies. Split Second is not, this is not your launch title by any stretch. I think you're most famously known for X-Wing, but you've done other stuff besides that. Right. So you've had your thumbs in many pies over the years. You'll be able to come at this. Whoa, don't make it weird, man. Don't make it weird. You'll be able to come at this from a couple of different angles. So I guess I wanted to start with this. When the submission process, so now we're kind of harkening back to our original vetting process. I'm going to start with you, Jay. When you decided that you wanted to shop, when you had 0 Hour and you originally started shopping it, I'm assuming that Split Second were not the only people that you went to with this, right? Like, I mean, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but.
No. And in fact, it was really unlike anything else, because I didn't shop it in the normal sense of contacting a whole bunch of different publishers, seeing if one was interested, sending out a copy, waiting for a response or anything like that. It's a game I had been working on for about 6 years. And because I founded Geekway to the West down in St. Louis, over the years, I had been taking it to Geekway and playing it there over and over and over again. And after a while, Paul, I think that's where you first saw or heard it, right?
Yeah, that was definitely where we first saw it. It was a playtest that you were showing it, and you were talking about this publisher that you had gotten into an agreement with to do it. And I said, "This is fantastic. This is wonderful. This is a shame we couldn't do this." Shook your hand and said, "You got a winner here."
When that fell through for me, then with the other publisher, got back in touch with them, and because they had expressed interest before. And it was really cool that, you were still really, really interested in it, because you had had a chance to see it firsthand and play it. So this was a lot different than some of the other types of submissions I would do, or anecdotes that I hear retold from some other designers in the industry. Because I was able to meet directly with them face to face. It was at a convention. We kind of socially knew each other already a little bit, which I think that's something right there that people don't understand or realize what a small industry it is and how many people know each other.
True story.
Yeah, and there's industry friends and industry contacts, but then as soon as you start talking about business and money, that going, okay, it's fun and it's a pastime, but it is also a business.
Yeah.
And so what was great is they were able to recognize how important the game was to me, but then when it was time to actually talk about the business parts, it was really, really easy to do with them. I was really comfortable going back and forth when we were going through the contract details, for example.
Right. And I think that it's funny because the industry is such a small industry. And you're absolutely right. It's a cottage industry isn't quite fair, but it's real close, right? Like, I mean, even the biggest hits are still small potatoes compared to what big corporate America considers to be big business nowadays, right? And so, because it is such a small industry and everybody knows everybody, it being able to draw that personal versus business line can be a really tricky boundary to navigate. And so, when you can find somebody that can do it in a professional manner and not have feelings be completely ignored, but also not trump common sense and business sense, I think that's a really important distinction.
Yeah. It's also important to know, because everybody knows everyone, that you have to make sure that you are mindful of how you conduct yourselves at all times.
Sure.
Whenever I'm at a convention, I have no idea who else might be seeing me there, talking to me. I'll recognize a lot of people, but there will be a lot of people that recognize me that I don't remember or don't recall, or it might be a publisher that I haven't talked to in a long time. But you never know who you're talking to, or who they're going to have lunch with, or who they're emailing with, or who's in their game group. Right. So there is a lot of interaction between people in the same company, across companies, between the player base and the publisher producer base. So I just think that a lot of people have to understand that a lot of people who are on the business side of the industry enjoy the fun side of the industry, so they're involved in that too.
Yeah, for sure. I will say one thing, that your painted thumbnails and Hawaiian shirts are not helping you be incognito, sir. I mean, if you wanted to be, I'm just throwing that out there.
That is intentional branding.
Yes.
There.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody out there, here, just a little aside.
Please.
If you want to brand yourself successfully, people are only going to remember a maximum of 3 things about you. So make sure you're in control of what those 3 things are. I don't want people to be thinking, oh yeah, bald, overweight, middle, right? That's not going to separate me from anybody else. So I decided Hawaiian shirt. I always have some sort of game related. Right now it's a 6-sided die earring, and I've got my thumbnails painted. And I tell you, 10, 12 years later, I still have people who identify and recognize me by that, or across a long hallway or gaming room, they'll spot me. I mean, Paul's hat, I would say, is a signature item that people see and remember and recall. And it seems silly to do that, but start thinking about people in the industry who've done that. Friedman Friesen and his green hair. Yeah. Right? Eric Lang and the way he has his haircut is very, very distinct now. There are certain people, Mark Street and his...
Mark's hat.
Yeah, chapeau. So a lot of people do things like that, and there's importance and significance to that level of branding.
I think the closest thing that I have right now is that I look just like Brandon Kemp of the "What Did You Play This Week" podcast thing. So the things people
that's
think,
powerful draw.
No matter what happens, I still get identified as a podcaster. But that's about
we need to work on our branding because we're just confusing people.
At least I'm not the one getting chased down the hallway being called an a-hole. I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway, all right. No, but you're not wrong. And because it is such a small community, and you'd never know who you're going to be talking to and who that person is going to be talking to, you're absolutely right. At conventions especially, there is that feeling that you always kind of need to be on, right? Like that, and that can be very taxing too. I mean, let's not sell that short. I know, Paul, that this is something that you and I have talked about in person before. Is that as somebody that gets to be the face of a brand, you know, you tend to be the one that is a little more visible at conventions, especially considering the hat and whatnot. You know,
Exactly.
You're that guy, and there's always this matter of, you know, playing the game about playing the games.
No, it's just it's a realization that who you are is not only who you, the feelings you embody, but this is also the role that you play. Right. I am this person. I am half of Split Second, but I am also Paul, and I am also 30, 40 plus years of neurotic behavior that has all been bundled together over time that I've figured out how to interact with better. And there are times when you need to realize that you need to step away from a bit and get into a zone to be yourself in that face that you can't always show when you are the public face of something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that moment with where Ice-T, like he says, I'm gonna shoot this look I've shot a million times before. Like there is a space that you've got to step into when you're in the public eye. That most people do, and most people do well. But there's still that moment where you just want to relax for a second, just a second, and play a game for yourself.
Yeah.
Or get a bite, and not be pitched a third game today.
Yeah, like I cannot unwind until the door closes to my hotel room, because I'm walking back to the hotel, I'll run into people that I know or who want to talk to me.
Yeah.
You never know. And there's something that as soon as that door clicks, there's this,
yes.
I can finally kind of unwind for a little bit, calm down, take a breath. But it is mentally and physically exhausting to be on all the time.
Oh yeah.
Especially for a longer convention.
I won't lie. Here's part of the trick. Part of the trick is the hat. That when the hat is on, I'm on, and when the hat is off, it's usually me coming down for a moment or two, or separating myself enough from this that I've built up. Or I'm just overheated.
I can't help but go to the weird place here. So my trick is to go find the swimming pool at the hotel of wherever the convention is. So for me, it's when the swimsuit's on, I'm me, and when the oh, never mind. All right. Anyway,
when it comes off, what?
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for here.
There you go. No, all right. No, okay. So I feel like we're straying a little bit into like convention behavior, and that's awesome too, right? Because that really is part of being a designer and a publisher, right? You are still a quote unquote personality in this very small industry, and so it is a thing to think about. But when it comes to you Jay interacting with Split Second and Split Second interacting with Jay, so we've gotten past the point where 0 hour, I don't know what I said a second ago, was with somebody else, didn't work out, came back. Now it went to Split Second. Split Second decides, yes, this is something we love. We definitely want to move forward with it. Away we go. So the game goes through iterations, right? Like the game as it sits right now, it's about to go on Kickstarter when?
May 30th.
May 30th.
May 30th. See, cheap plug number one. Here you go.
No, you're the first. So congratulations.
Nice. We get our scoop. May 30th is when 0 hour will go on Kickstarter. But between May 30th and the first time you played this, Paul.
Yes.
How many different versions of this game have there been?
At least five.
At least five. And we're not talking like minor iterations where we tweaked a rule or two, right? We're talking like this is
at least two majors and a number of minors.
Right. Yeah. So that development process, how much of that load was on Split Second versus how much of it was on Jay?
I think we kind of went back and forth a lot on this. I think I knew that Jay had been working on this for a long time, so I know how tied it is to the storyline and the feel, the tension that it's building up. So we knew what it was that was critical and core to the game. And when things were veering off of that, we'd have a conversation and go, this seems to need a little bit more tweaking. What are your thoughts on this or that? If you're wanting it to be at this level of difficulty, it's currently too low. I've got some ideas. What are your thoughts? And it was a back and forth process for, I'd say, a good 60 to 75% of that. Would you agree?
What's really interesting was, from my point of view, it had gone through probably 4 or 5 key evolutions before you had even seen it. And version it gave was slightly different, but it always retained the same core pusher-like dice mechanic.
Yeah.
What dice mechanic, I mean. And the main structure of how you go through the game and the tension of it, and that it's going to be cooperative. So the chassis is the same. It's what's inside that's kind of streamlined and new and improved. But what really, really impressed me is once it got to split-second games, Paul and Randy have access to a much larger, wider range of playtesters than I do. So I had played it with a fairly limited pool of people, even when I would take it to conventions with me, right? It doesn't match the numbers that he was able to reach through the game groups there and the other playtesters he was able to find. So he came back to me with feedback that I could not have gotten on my own to say, well, we know that this is what you wanted, but after so many plays, that's not what we're seeing. So a lot of the changes for the fine-tuning and balance were really directed by split second. And then they would run it past me and say, does this still kind of follow what you were looking for? Does this still accomplish what you want? But my God, without their input and collaboration, a lot of the streamlining and finer detail wouldn't get done. It's really hard to design in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Having people to bounce ideas off and hearing their point of view and going, yeah, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. That does make the game better. So it was definitely collaborative, but I really think a lot of the burden fell on them, especially toward the end, because they're making business decisions. And so, hey, if you guys think this will make a better game, I'm all for it. Or just he has better data than I do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know that, Jay, you and I attended a Protospiel event together last year, and I playtested a couple things with you, and I got to see how your playtesting process sort of works on your end of things. And then I had playtested 0 Hour in a previous incarnation through Paul at a Gaming Hoopla event before that. So I'm in this weird position where I've actually sort of gotten to see both ends of how playtesting can go, like both of your playtesting processes. Now, I didn't playtest 0 Hour with you, Jay. I only playtested that with Paul, but I kind of got to see both ends of it. And it's really interesting that you bring that up because you're right. Data points are really key to any playtesting process, and you can only get so many of them as one human being, right? Like, I mean, there's literally a physical limit where you're like, I can only play this damn thing so many times.
Yes.
You need to hand it off to somebody else and let them start doing that legwork. And I think that that's a thing that a lot of quote unquote young designers, people that either haven't been published or have only been published once or twice before, I think that can be a hard hurdle to get over, is letting go to their baby, right? Like set it free and let the data take it where it may. And I think that's proof to you being a pro, right, Jay? Like, I mean, this is not your first rodeo. You've been down this road before. You've seen how this ends up having to go. It's got it easier.
It's interesting to say that because you get so emotionally invested in your games. They're your babies, like you mentioned. They're your family. You've been feeding them and watching them grow for years and years in this case. So while I like to think that I have gotten better at it, there were still some very, very difficult decisions for me to say yes to, right? They're like, no, the data is, or we think that this will be better. And I'm like, but I don't want to give that part up.
Right.
I really, really like that part. I had to be able to take a step back and look at it from the bigger picture like they were and go, you know what? I'm holding on to something that's either petty or, yes, it's especially personal to me, but changing it doesn't change the output of the game.
Right.
By contrast, I had worked on another game where the theme was very important. And so when the publisher had offered to take it but wanted to radically change the theme, that was way too much for me because the theme was too important. Where here, some of the minor mechanics that I had, or some of the things, since Paul had kind of alluded to it before, we had such a good understanding of what it was I was trying to accomplish, what I wanted the game to feel like, what I wanted the win rate to be, how involved and invested I want the players to feel even when it's not their turn, that it was a lot easier for me to let go of some things once they were able to show me that we're still going to get to that goal, just slightly different.
Very cool. Yeah, I empathize on the theme being key on certain designs, right? Like it's sometimes the design comes from a theme first, and then you really want that to be a game, and sometimes it comes from a game, and then you want there to be a theme that totally works with it. And really both design points are perfectly valid, but sometimes it's harder to let go of one half than the other. And I have personal experience in this that I don't want to go into, but let's just say I built a Christmas game and somebody wanted to take the Christmas out of it. I'm like, well, then what? Why? There's just no point. So I totally understand that. That's part of why I am an unpublished designer and you are not, sir, because I was like, nope, that's not a thing. Nope, you're not unchristmasing my damn game. So there you go. All right. So you've gotten through the playtesting process. You've gotten through the development process. You've got the game mechanically where you want it. The data backs up that the play balance is where it needs to be. The designer is as happy as he's going to be with where it is. The publisher is as happy as where he's going to be where this is. All parties have met in the middle, and there is a game, and this is the game. This is done. At what point now? Like, how far ahead of this do you get? Now I'm going to talk to Split Second for a minute here. When you're now thinking, okay, we're working towards a final product here. How early are you comfortable with making now publishing decisions? Like, how far into the development process was it before you were comfortable doing things like artwork, like ordering art and whatever? I mean, I would imagine art could come a little earlier than other things because art can be, repurposed for many different things. But, like,
and that's actually a really interesting part about this project in particular that Randy can talk to. Art.
Well, we, I could look at my files to see when they started coming in, but we first reached out for artwork.
I put him on the spot. Look at that. Isn't that cute?
You did? No, yeah. I'm putting my story together while I'm talking. So we were in creative decision. We were in creative discussions as I'm starting to get the feel and the theme of everything pulled together, trying to play art director, see what Jay sees in his head, what Paul sees in his head, etc. And Jay was talking about how the people looked kind of like, if you look up the concept art for Borderlands 2, the character designs for that.
And I was big on this. I kept on doing this over and over again, and I put together packets of art from the concepting that I liked and sent them to him. I don't know if you got sick of hearing me talk about that, but
no.
Oh, heck no.
And I had
a vision of that.
And I had recently come across that stuff myself, and then Jay mentioned it, so it was really hot in my head.
Yeah.
So I started gathering up a list of artists that I felt were kind of contemporaries of that style. And then at the end, I was like, well, let's just find out who that guy is. And it's Matthias Tapia, and he's a genius, and he lives in Santiago, Chile. And I was like, well, I'll send him a request just to see. Why not? I know he's going to be out of our ballpark, but at least we introduce ourselves. And he came back with the fastest and lowest quote of the 12 artists I reached out to. And the rest is history.
And then everybody giggled and waved.
I'm like, no, really? He's like, yeah, we got that artist. I'm like, no, really? I was.
So true story here. It's a true story, and this is a tangent. But back in college, I worked with a college radio station, and we somehow got Big Star to reunite at our college radio jam festival show. And it was just a matter of somebody going, what if we just call them? What if we just call them and say, hey, you guys want to do this? And it ended up being just the same thing. I'll go if he goes, and I'll go if he goes. So 20 years of musical history, boom, it happens. And it's just from having these conversations. And that's something I'm going to recommend extending to anybody in this industry.
You have to ask.
It's free to ask, right?
Yes.
Politely.
Please, just take that step, and you'd be surprised how far it gets you.
Be respectful.
Yeah.
But ask.
The euphemism or the saying that I always use is you can't hit a home run if you don't swing the bat. Like the worst case, I mean, there's no way to try, or there's no way to succeed unless you at least put forth a basic, like, hey, maybe, and see what happens.
Right.
So
we wouldn't be here if I hadn't followed up with Jay and said, hey, Jay, let's talk. And we wouldn't have found that either. So
that is such an important concept, though, Bill, just to kind of reinforce that, that's probably how I've gotten most of my, interviewees to come into my classroom or contracts for publishing. It's all just by going, you know what? I shouldn't be embarrassed to ask. Let me just ask and see what they say. The worst they can say is no. But so many times, especially in this industry, people want to say yes if they can.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're excited about it. Right?
And I'm so glad we did, because this art just, oh my gosh.
And one of the good things I had was a predetermined list of personalities, of characters that Jay had already written, and a core of characters that formed the heart and soul of the game in Jay's mind. And so those were the first things I was able to take and send to Matthias, while Paul and Jay were finishing development on what would eventually be the full roster of characters and the masterminds as well. So it kind of, the artwork had to roll out in like 3 different waves, and then a couple little things tacked on at the very end there. But once we knew, as soon as something was locked down and said, this is a person that will be in the game, we do not know, even if we don't know all their abilities just yet, or they're not balanced or something, this is a character that exists.
Sure.
So then I get to go take that and have artwork made.
And the art was amazing. It was spot on.
So good. It's so good.
I got to say, when Split Second was on the show the first time around, we got a quick scoop peek of one of the pieces of art, if I recall correctly. I think Paul had a couple pieces that he was able to quickly show us on the monitor, if I recall correctly. So I would urge you, viewers, to go back into the catalog. And I cannot and this is terrible YouTubery here, but I cannot for the life of me remember which episode it is off the top of my head. So I'm going to look right now and see.
It was number 1. It was the first.
Were you on the launch?
We were not
episode?
number 1. I think we were like 5 or 6.
I was going to say, I thought you were.
Yeah, we're early.
Another place for them to look
You
is
were
on the
pretty early
Facebook
in the
page.
process, but I didn't think you
You
were
don't
quite
have
that.
the art there with you right now, guys?
Actually, I do. I just reached over and grabbed. I have a printout of the cover here,
Oh, there you go.
which is
Hang on. Let me set this to present to everyone so that way everybody can see it.
yeah. I'll hold this up. It's a little shaky because
There you go.
I'm leaning over. Yeah, but
I got to say, when you first said to me the Borderlands 2 art guy, I got really jazzed because I have been a big fan of that game since forever.
And just looking at it, oh, wow. I knew the references that I submitted, and it was usually a little bit of a description of the personality than 1 or 2 archetypes or people that I thought it should look like. It was uncanny. One of them, for example, the reference was Steve Buscemi.
oh yeah.
We had to tone him down.
Sure.
Yeah, he was way over the top. And,
we had the initial message said I think the quote was exactly like a creepy Steve Buscemi.
And I know that
boy did he nail it.
And then there was Dr. Mutos, who was kind of our cover baddie. He actually we dialed him up a couple times. Got the initial sketch that I'm like, that's really cool. It's everything I asked for, but he doesn't look like he wants everybody dead. So can we fix that? And,
by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it was episode 7 of the YouTube version that you guys were on from November 7th of 2016. So go check that out. There's a little bit more of the artwork on there if you want to see more of that stuff. And I'll try and remember to put a link to that in the show notes on the cubistpodcast.com.
yeah,
Yes.
Very cool. All right, real quick. May 30th is when this Kickstarter goes live.
Yes.
And is there do you do early bird Kickstarter-ness? Like, do people
No,
need to
we
be matched
found
and
that
refreshed?
we found the more that people pushed early bird, the less likely they're going to support it, because if I don't get it at this cheap rate, why should I get it at the slightly more expensive rate? I get it. So no, we don't do that. We're going to be looking at ways to make small upgrade packs, so that people have a chance to upgrade their bits. We're looking at ways to include more maps and more things in the game. We want to add more value to your box at with reasonable rates.
So the idea is that there will be like a very budget conscious base game, and then tack on more stuff, and depending on how much more of the game you want. Okay.
Absolutely. And as it stretches, it will continue to go. It will continue to grow. Right.
Well,
but I would also say that the base game is also going to be quite fine for a lot of people.
Sure.
Just people like that Lux version.
Right.
The game was designed to be modular and replayable, and even with the base game, you could probably have 20 different groups play back to back to back and not get the same experience with a different mix of survivors, a different sequence of cities that you hit, whether you hit day or night, who's behind it all. Like at the beginning of the game, you don't even know who you're facing yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've loved so much about it, and hearing the playtest feedback from Paul is great and reinforces it, is even when people lose, they're like, oh, all right, well, let's do it again. Let's try it again. Yeah. Right? That feeling that you got in Pandemic the first couple times, or some other game that kicked your ass. But also, unlike Pandemic or some others, where people were talking about the same game, but we're talking about having incredibly different experiences. Oh, man, do you remember trying to go through Milwaukee at night? That was totally crazy. What? No way. We just had the firefighter, knock down all the doors. What? And then they started to talk about the game and kind of share their experience and see just how much there was to still play.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, I always tell guests before the show, this is mostly for our lovely viewers, I always tell guests that I have no problem whatsoever shilling. Right. Like I have zero problem. No, I flat out don't. Like the whole deal, right, is that you come on the show and you bless me with an hour of your time and you give me my time. You give me your time and you allow me to pick your brains on stuff that I think is interesting and that I think viewers will find interesting. And in exchange, I want to make this worth your time. Having said all that, park all that for a minute, because I played 0 Hour and I love this game. And I said so last year, and I will say it again. You have a day one back out of me because this is a really, really fun game. This tickles all the parts that I want out of a co-op. It's accessible. It's easy. I like chucking a million dice. I like having a cool story evolve from a game. I like a little bit of mystery that I don't exactly know what the hell's going on until the stuff hits the rotating wind device. Like I want it pushes all of my buttons in a way that I find really fascinating. So I'll tell you right now, from firsthand experience, it's a really good game, you guys. So I think you guys, I'm really looking forward to having this box on my shelf in I'm sure only a matter of months, right?
Yeah. I've got 5 behind me right now.
Outstanding. All right. You know where I live. I'm just throwing that out there.
And for those who want to see it, then this brings us right back full circle. Those who want to see it first before anybody else, if you can have a golden ticket to Geekway, we're going to be there in full force so that you can see it. Jay will have a copy. I'll have a copy.
I will play that as often. Okay, there are some games that I have designed that will remain nameless that I could care less if I ever play again. But
not Blood Bowl Team Manager, right? Because I have
the 2 games that I will always play are Blood Bowl Team Manager and 0 Hour.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I'll jump on that too, because this is a game that after so many years of developing, I usually get to a point in that game where I don't want to play this anymore. I need something different, and this game continues. 0 Hour continues to surprise me.
I had to bring up Blood Bowl Team Manager really fast because it was brought up in our chat by Anthony Ricano, and Cardboard Jungle named you one of their top 50 game designers, Jay. So,
well, thank you very much.
Yes. So Anthony is already a fan. So, and he's the one that reminded me that was your other really big game. Other really big, like I would argue the 2 biggest hits, right? X-Winger and that, right? I mean, that's a fair statement, don't you think?
Star Wars RPG?
For some. The Star Wars role play
Wars,
done
that's fair. Well. Okay, sure.
And that's a design I'm really, really proud of because I love my dice.
Okay, I guess I was focusing on the board gaming side of things, but yeah.
I forget.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this is awesome. May 30th, it's hitting Kickstarter. I would urge you to go back it. I can't put a link to the Kickstarter because it doesn't exist yet, but
we will set you up with that when the moment happens.
Yep. On May 30th, I will retroactively stick this back on the thing. So if you happen to watch this after it's live, go check it out. It's a really good game. So, all right.
I'm going to let them sell it to me at Geekway. So
Also,
one of the
handful of
5
times.
copies. I swear to God, if between you refusing to teach me Blood Bowl Team Manager and then you get a copy of this ahead of me, I will kick you right square.
I didn't refuse to
You
teach
did
Blood Bowl.
refuse, sir. I tried to take. No, you know what? You're not getting off the hook on
I
this.
think we
pulled
ran out
the
of
box
time.
out and put
Hey,
it.
don't
on
you have
the
something
table.
you want to talk to your guests about?
Yes. Fine. Jay Little is one last part of the show that we have to end every episode with, and that is our rapid fire segment.
Okay, let's go.
All right. See, I like this. This is enthusiasm. It's good. 5 questions, answer as fast as you can. No repeating the question back to me in an effort to buy yourself time.
All
You
right.
good? All right, Jay, here we go. Jay, your favorite 2-player game?
Having kids.
That works. A designer that you would love to collaborate with at some point?
Eric Lang.
Absolutely. A game that you would love to rework into a second edition of some variety?
Ooh, the Blood Bowl tabletop game.
That would be like 4th or 5th edition, but yeah.
Yeah, but I want to do the next one.
All right, Jay, the minimum number of Hawaiian shirts that are required to attend a major game convention?
6.
6. You probably have that figured out. And complete this sentence for me. Peanut butter and?
Cats.
Sure.
Do not go together.
That's a terrible idea. I like it.
It's a cautionary tale.
Yes. I'm sure there's a story behind it that you will happily tell at Geekway, even if you have to make it up out of whole cloth while people come up to you.
I'm trying to think of what to make up now.
I hope you have a few days to prepare, sir. I genuinely hope that somebody watches this show and then goes and finds you at Geekway to say, hey, tell me about peanut butter and cats.
Absolutely. Or just stop by to play 0 Hour.
Yeah, or play 0 Hour with him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, if people wanted to find out more about you, would there be places they would go online?
They can visit my website at paintedthumb.com. Painted Thumb.
Painted Thumb, got it.
Or you can always check out my ludography and game credits on Board Game Geek or RPG Geek under Jason Little. Or my Twitter is @Ynnen, YNNEN.
And you tweet at least once every 6 to 8 weeks. It's very exciting when you do.
It's rare because I try to tweet when I have something to say.
Yes, there you go. As opposed to the rest of us who's like, hey, peanut butter and cats, you guys. There you go. All right, very cool. All right, Randy and or Paul, where would we find out more about y'all?
0hour.co is the current 0hour.co is available. It currently is leading to the informational page on splitsecondgames.com. When the Kickstarter goes live, it will automatically redirect to the Kickstarter page. You can follow us on Twitter at Split2ND Games, Split Second Games. Same at Facebook.
There's a Facebook 0 Hour page that is growing.
0 Hour by Jay Little on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Yep. And
So wait a second. So
we have wins.
0hour.co will redirect directly to the Kickstarter page as soon as the Kickstarter goes live?
correct.
Yes, indeed.
So I could put that in the show notes, and that would solve all of our problems, and you don't have to come back to me on May 30th. Oh, brilliant.
Look at that.
These are the things I do for you.
And we're back to technology being a good thing.
See how smart I am. Brandon, if people wanted to know more about the Justice League of Podcasting or any such nonsense that you would have, where would they look, sir?
Wherever they would want to. I'm everywhere.
Well, okay.
In their living room.
That was
right now. I'm in the computer room with the dog sleeping behind me. But
that was a truly Aquaman level answer, sir.
Yes, thank you. I am the Aquaman of the Justice League of Podcasts. You can find us at WDYPTW on Twitter, WDYPTW.com as well. Wherever your finer free podcasts are sold, you can find us there.
Before we end, though, Brendan, you did not ask a single question.
Nope.
It kind of hurt my feelings.
I do this. Bill has me on. I'm basically Ed McMahon. I agree with him. I drink and I nod. Yes.
What he really actually does is keeps me sane by keeping a second pair of eyeballs on the chat room in case I miss something. And whatever. No, both Kimberly and Brandon are awesome co-hosts. Kimberly, we miss you. Hopefully we will see you back again next week. You can follow me on Twitter at Cubist Podcast, the show, at Bill Corey Jr. is my private account. And you can also please go to thecubistpodcast.com. Links to all of the shows are there, as well as a link to the Patreon page. If you want to support the show directly, you can do so there as well. And merch coming soon. I'm working on Cubist t-shirts will hopefully be available in the next couple weeks. Sadly, could not get them quite done in time for Geekway, which was sort of my goal. But I'm hoping to put them in the hands of a couple key personnel to have them wandering around Origins. Let's just put it that way. We'll see where we're at.
Get one in my hands, and I will probably wear it at school underneath one of my Hawaiian shirts while I'm teaching.
Outstanding.
I'll tell you, one to Origins, I will definitely be happy to have one.
Yeah, I like this idea. I'll tell you right now, Jay, they are the same color as your thumbs and your earring. Nice. So you are color coordinated completely inadvertently. So this will be great. Thanks, guys, for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Everybody, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Catch y'all again next week. Take care.